Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Green Echoes. My name is Nicholas J. Karnami, the host of the show. This program, The Green Echoes, is an initiative by DD Meghalaya aimed at highlighting the crucial environmental problems that we are facing in our day-to-day lives. Its primary objective is to highlight the critical environmental issues that we are being affected with, and also at the same time to showcase government policies, community-led initiatives and individual efforts towards protecting the environment for a healthier planet. Each week through this program, The Green Echoes, we would like to highlight critical environmental issues that impact our lives, but also at the same time to initiate action from the local and individual level. So, in this episode of The Green Echoes, we are emphasizing on this term called sustainable living or sustainable lifestyle. When we talk about sustainable lifestyle, or the word sustainable is something where each and every one of us are embedded with the day-to-day affairs of ours, in which our lifestyle speaks about the volume of things that we consume or the things that we do in our day-to-day life that impact our environment. Let's get to know more in detail. Do we actually know what sustainable living is all about, or what this term sustainable lifestyle is all about, and whether we are ready to bring in that behavioral change in order to bring about that much needed change by beginning with each and every one of us at the individual level. So in this episode, let's get to know more in detail about what sustainable lifestyle is all about. As humans, we make many choices throughout the day. Choices such as whether to shower or use a bucket of water, whether to walk or drive your car, whether to carry your own bag or depend on plastics, whether to carry our water bottles than to depend on PET bottles. This may sound like simple choices. Probably we don't even spend any time thinking about any of these. But each of these choices takes us to the question of sustainable living. According to a recent report, by 2050, the world's population may reach a whopping 10 billion. And so can you imagine, what does that mean? More people mean more demand for food, fashion, travel, housing, and related aspirations. How will this impact the life on Earth? Let's find out.
Sustainable lifestyle. Sustainable lifestyle in today's context is a very, very pertinent and important topic. That is not only because we are living a lifestyle in which sustainability is very important, but also because the environment in which we are living now is no longer like how it used to be. Now there is a real need for us to sustain our lifestyle in order to have a sustainable world. This sustainable world is not supposed to only cater to us, but our future generation. So sustainable lifestyle is the ability for us at the moment to be able to keep as less as we can the carbon footprints, so that we are able to sustain lifestyle not only for us, but for the future generation. In this sustainable lifestyle, leaving less carbon footprint would also mean reducing the most important thing, pollution and exploitation of the natural environment that we have. Whatever we have at the moment, we need to sustain it. So that is sustainable lifestyle for us. So when we talk about a sustainable lifestyle, what are the basic things that we need to remember? Firstly, we need to remember something known as conservation of our environment and our world that we live in. As we all can see, in today's time, we talk a lot about pollution of the water, we talk a lot about pollution of the air, and most importantly, in today's time, we talk a lot about pollution and safeguarding of the environment we live in. Why do we say all these things? That's because we are leaving a lot of carbon footprints behind day in and day out. The reason why we need to have sustainability in what we do right now to our world is so important. That's because the pollution that we are causing to the water is going to have us to have less water in the near future, drinkable water, fresh water. The other reason why we should try as much as we can to reduce air pollution is because oxygen deficiency will cause us more health implications than anything else in the near future. We would maybe have to buy the oxygen that we have to breathe. So that is another important thing. And another important thing when it comes to environment, oxygen and environment to me are, proportionally or, related to each other. That is because if there is no trees, there is no one who can purify our oxygen. The challenges that we are facing at the moment when it comes to sustainable lifestyle, let us explain the day-to-day things that we do. For example, now every household has got 2, 3, 4 cars, and we utilize our cars to travel from one place to another. We commute, right? In the same way, we know that as we are doing that, we are burning the fuel and releasing a lot of carbon dioxide. So if we are doing that, it means what? We're increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in our environment daily. One household, 5 cars. Imagine how much we do it. Other than that, whatever we do in terms of, our day-to-day activities, whether it is washing clothes, whether it is, we are, cleaning our household, we do release a lot of chemicals and pollutants into the water, which is, we can't even count on how much are we doing it every day, 24 hours in a day that we do. Other than that, we do other extrapolitan activities like the anthropogenic activities, construction work, urbanization. These things are happening on a daily basis. But when we talk about sustainable lifestyle, that is the actual challenge. How do we curtail on these carbon footprints that we are leaving and emitting every single day? So let's say for the first go that we talk about carbon dioxide emission, that is through the vehicles that we use. In today's time, we all know, especially in a place like Shillong, that traffic is a very big problem. So one car can take 5 people, but one bus can take 30 people. So why aren't we using a more sustainable way of commuting by taking a bus in which 30 people can go at the same time of how much the carbon emission is happening? But what do we want? In a traditional way that we do, we want luxury, right? Comfort, but the expense of our environment. So that is one of the reasons where the carbon emission and the footprints of carbon that we are leaving cannot be stopped. But the challenge and the solution lies there, where we try to go for more public transport. We try to take ways and means to reduce carbon emission. At the same time, in our Khasi society, earlier we had times where we never had breakfast, lunch and dinner. We used to have our breakfast and lunch used to be at one time, and then we used to have a dinner. So why am I saying that? We save energy or fuel even in terms of LPG gas. We cook one time and we eat twice. At the same time, the utilization of water, the fresh water that we use for drinking, for cooking, for cleaning, all these things can be curbed if we try small sustainable lifestyle methods. Another challenge that we face now in everyday life, as we talk about, we move around, we see things. What do we see? A lot of single-use plastic being disposed and thrown just here and there. Why is that happening? We can't stop our children from saying don't eat chips, but what did they do with the chips packet after that? We can't say that, I will carry 1000 ml of water every day, everywhere I go, because we think it's a bit too heavy. It doesn't suit, maybe for us ladies, our bags are too small. So what do? We use plastic bottles and we consume the water from there. What do we do with the bottles after that? So single-use plastic is one of the main menace that is actually eating up the environment daily now. You can see our rivers. If you try and clean a river, you don't see as much of, organic things, then you see more of the inorganic things that are there, that don't get, degraded very easily. So that is another issue that is very, very pertinent. So single-use plastics are one of the main challenges that is affecting if we wish to adopt the sustainable lifestyle. Single-use plastic is said to be contagious and is having health hazards. That is the reason why we don't want to keep it. So we dump and dispose it anywhere we feel is fine, away from my home. It could be in my neighbor's compound, it could be in any water body, it could be in a dustbin, so we dispose it. So this is another important challenge that we face when we want to have a sustainable lifestyle. One of the menace is single-use plastic.
So when we're talking about sustainable lifestyle, what is important to understand here is how are we using these day-to-day materials that are available around us. Let's talk about single-use plastic, or let's talk about paper bags. Right now I'm in front of a shop here in the Yodo, and let's talk to this gentleman and try to understand whether the customers are asking for single-use plastic or for paper bags, and whether they themselves are trying to promote paper bags or not. तो नमस्कार भाई साहब, पहले तो ये बताइए कि सिंगल यूज़ प्लास्टिक तो सरकार ने तो बैन कर रखा है ना, तो आपको क्या लग रहा है, क्या ये बैन करने से इससे, क्योंकि अभी भी तो सिंगल यूज़ प्लास्टिक चारों ओर अवेलेबल
है सर, अवेलेबल है। तो हम तो क्या पहले से हम लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं कि ये बंद होना चाहिए डायरेक्ट कंपनी से। अगर कंपनी से बंद होगा तो इधर कोई यूज़ करेगा नहीं, यूज़ नहीं करेगा तो पेपर तो बिक्री होना ही है, तो 100% होगा ही होगा, आदमी कोई ऑप्शन नहीं होगा। अभी क्या है कि हम लोग इधर में प्लास्टिक नहीं दे रहे, तो हम लोग अगर कस्टमर को प्लास्टिक नहीं देंगे तो हम दूसरे दुकान में लेंगे, अब प्लास्टिक देगा ही नहीं देगा, मतलब धमकी होता है हम लोग के एक किस्म का। अब आदमी लोग को देना ही पड़ता है, और नहीं देंगे तो इसमें देंगे तो आदमी लोग क्या करता है, नहीं आप नहीं दे रहा है ना, ठीक है हम दूसरी दुकान में ले लेगा, ये बोलता है। अगर डायरेक्ट जो टोटली बैन होगा तो कस्टमर तो लेना ही पड़ेगा, ऑप्शन नहीं है। और दूसरा बात क्या है कि जैसे बाज़ार में हम लोग बाज़ार में पिछले बार भी 2-3 बार बंद हुआ, तो बाज़ार में आदमी लोग बंद किया तो डायरेक्ट जो आदमी लोग जो कस्टमर है डायरेक्ट गुवाहाटी से लेके आ रहा है, डायरेक्ट वो लोग अपना सामान में मंगा रहा है, तो कोई फ़ायदा नहीं हुआ बंद करने का। तो हम ये चाहता है कि मतलब अगर बंद करना ही है तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, वायरमैन के लिए बहुत बेस्ट है। हम चाहता है कि डायरेक्ट कंपनी से बंद हो।
तो सिंगल यूज़ प्लास्टिक की जगह में हम लोग पेपर बैग्स का प्रचार कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, देखिए लोग पेपर बैग्स का यूज़ करें, तो आपको क्या लग रहा है कि क्या लोग इस बदलाव को एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए तैयार है, क्या लोग पेपर बैग्स यूज़ करने के लिए तैयार है, या फिर लोग
बहुत कोशिश की आदमी लोग नहीं, मतलब इधर में नहीं हुआ, बहुत साल से हम तो आपको 20 साल से देख रहा है, बहुत सर मतलब बहुत ट्राई किया बहुत ज़्यादा, पर अभी तक सक्सेस नहीं हुआ। अब देखिए आगे क्या होता है, इसके लिए तो बहुत आज 2001 से आपको स्टार्ट हुआ था, तो अब उस टाइम से हम देख रहे हैं।
मतलब आप लोग का ये जो पेपर बैग्स का सेल है वो है कि नहीं है, मतलब
अगर जब प्लास्टिक जब बैन का जो हल्ला होता है ना, उस टाइम थोड़ा एकदम हेवी ये अच्छा सेल होता है। जब पेपर प्लास्टिक फिर चालू हो जाता है तो हमारा ये पूरा ब्लॉक हो जाता है, पिछले बार 2-3 बार फेंका भी था, तो ऐसा हो जाता है।
All right. So that's the practical understanding that right about now, whatever laws that have been put in place, whatever government policies that have been put in place towards the banning of single-use plastic is irrelevant for the very fact that, the availability of the single-use plastic at source is actually making the whole idea of promoting these paper bags, a total waste of this effort. Something that we all need to ponder about.
Kami kepercayaan lang iba-iba minta ka supply kini ki eco-friendly paper bags ki ba ki recycle papers ki bala recycle nang ki kot ki bala jupan dan kam te but habang ya keren but kani ka sapang kani ka sustainable lifestyle kalong nong kum kani ka kalong kum ka jingim jungi hi bangi ngila melian ban pendan kami kita ki plastik kan but sian men hakini ki snam ki bala lek nilai iba kila sak khang kita ki don ka kriteria ba kila khang ya kani ka plastik hari ka challenges kalong ba kumno bangin kadai hi nangi simet bangin la ban use de kita ki alternative ban ya ka ba use kini ki plastik kan amda de ya tangi kini ki paper bag hari kum ya kini ka playo bangi don hani ngila ban pendon kam ya kini ka playo ru ma ka bala ban use te ka plastik te kalong harmful kami mariang ma te inda pendon kam ba ikini kinda slam kinda eru ki pu na te so ka ba ar kata ka challenge kalong ba ho kadai nangi simet ka bangin le na ka bor ka jongi bangin la ban pendon kam da ka ba kham long ba ka duna kata ka jin ha me ka me marang te henry ka ba ar pat ka long challenge ka long ba ngila kamen ba por ba mi kita ka an bakin khang kata ta plastic henry ke ka bangin lai inado ka tu ka jin khang ka long ba mdan bete lakam me kata ka an mdan uba pet uba khami kum ladangi commit kanu ka balong ka crime ne ka against ya kanu ka law kidon ki pulet ki ban pet mo ki ba you henry haba pelen hapo ki yo ki ngi iba pendon kami kita ki plastik ki long illegal henry pulet uang te tangga tahi ka challenge bat kumjo ka jengkentu ye ki long ye baro ki bai ka ni video ma ba in pendon kam da kata ko alternative ma bangin le kat bala ban penduna bangin sop ya ka me mariang ka plastik kumbang I hatu covid bala let bakat tu ngila sop ya ka me mariang ha dah ka plastik bakuno ka me mariang ka sop ka lai ni ki plastik dah ka ba ni hap ban pendon kami ki PPE ki mask ki tingin lan na ka tu ka bangila siam ma bat bangin pendon kam ya kita ki bakham kham duna ka jing ha me ka me mariang ti ka baya dei bat kata ka response ka jong ki brio ma ban use ki ni ki paper bag ngila don ni ka we ka movement ki bangila le au ki snam ki bla le ngila training kat bat ka ni ka green tech foundation ti ngila ya le spread ya kata ka awareness ka ba ngila ai ka teng ka don't be drastic say no to plastic ngila le hagi yo like nkra hagi yo PB ngila le bat ki bat ngila sam kita ki sample ha to por hagi dukan ki babun bat ngila I sibun zat ki respond nadu ki kini ki dukan ki bla kham he ki kwa hi ban use kini nama ki yo ka branding ka plastik to ka shuan pelin ben ti kini ki dukan ki bakham he ki stanat ban yo ban le kumini print ni badan hani ki kwa ban yo print ban iPhone number jang ki ti ki kloi ban long ban accept ya kani henry ka jing dunai kata ka long ka jing bam patla jangi ban penbiang ki raw material ki jong la jong ti ka kham ka pricing nama ki wana bar ki la ban ka riet ka la ban kio ki por ka la ban hair te ka jenjar ka nyingi bangin la ban ai kata ka price ka babit te takad audan ki dukan ki berang red ki ong ba kimla namal ba ban bo ka ni bakarem andre ka jing tentu ka jangi yaki namal ba pinda bo kono ka dukan kum ka dukan fast food andre pinda bo de kini ki packaging pila ban terwai ki beri dah ka ba ong long pikwa paper bag kum belit hagi tu ki dukan kum ki bata ki pendon kami kini pinda yu ki sembat kita ki packaging charge ma te la ban le kum taru dan ka yu andre ka long be hi kaman ki beri but kidan hi 50% ki baya sha 50% ki ba mia sha ma kanu ka kam wangi le ka ba bahan ka ba kidan be ki baya sha dan ba ki ba mia sha
Tiba hak bay dei bat kini kisla ni borobor ya kini kasla la ken kum kata bangila penon kam persya ya ka plastik mo Henry hak jing so ko jong pi balai mo ya kini kasla ngimpat la hi bonong ban penya yo kata kadur ban song ki mar ki matar
Kuiru nogum la bos kuiru ba kasla lo nga yap kloi la kada mla bahar ban supply minister parla bahar marbu tangkat no tayo la kloi ban yap
te habai dei bat kini ki sla ka jing thung jong kini bat ka demand ka jong ka yo mo kum hato pila ban kot sya ka kum baki paan ki pat ba ya ka jing penon kami kini kasla nak kaliang jong kinong rep ki bawan supply ya pi
nang batai ra namar ba sha na try ru kimla than ban supply do tata pe kumtar sila slap la duna supply sila juru upria la duna supply imta takara
te habai dei bat ka jing penon kami uni usla ni bat bangi penon kam tang ban song ki jajeng bam mo la yang tabare tingim pat ban ong ban yo ban penon kam hai ka sla kan te habai dei bat ka dor hatu ka kamrem ban penon kam da ka sla ne da ka plastik ne
kador da hak tu sipor hambyang hi kador mang idi ba arpon ka song temen tapat ba dang kama dang duna kumne ta kapoi ru kana najaka supplier kapoi betang hendet kumtu te mta ka kador ka lanang kiu da idi arpsan song laipon ka song long tang ba he la di la ka jong kador barit la ka jong kador di mta
Henry ban ong bakan la ban long ka bayo salan sarte ka dang mo namar badang
namar ba jur pelat slap tina trayam tangau dalak sada portelang im tu talak khamla da ban poi bon ai ru porlio ta manlau snam hi salong mem ne
te hatu kani ka kam ka ba yarap si kate ya ka may mariang mo da ka ba pide kani ka sla ki ba penon kam ya karu kilong kumbaki yada ya ka mariang ban ya ka ba ki penon kami kini ki plastik te hatu pisngo kumno hatu kani kala banlong ladang ka sarkar ka penlong ba gipat ba bakin penon kam ban dakini kisla ban song ban lele hatu kala menyarap ne kumno ne bisko
kalta te nong da ken na koi kaliang kala hi ban yarap te na koi kaliang pat long ta kan mar koi ka kasla long ka kam ne da kumba ne ka plastik kasla ha steyo arteo kala yap no kloi kala put kloi ta takada kum ko plastik pat la tip hi bor sirta kan ne tu ka selapat ka bu istayo dam nang le ban bu buat klayak kloy
tiang ni ngapon kadang hani po yudo tung keren kendiat ba ni idang ba iba dia gini gi jajeng bam ba ngai mentan ba PD ini kan nei rei itu inong thiet ipan ka plastik wat lada ira ka plaru te balai mo try gini gi briu kumni ki ya kat ba thi jeng thiet ki pan ba tang gi plastik bet to pitip am ka an ba ka ong ba ka khang ya kata ka jeng penon kami ka single use plastik rei balai gini gi briu kim song thu ya kata thara
Sino makala ya hikum tu dan om kan. Sunang mata isira.
rei dari ba kikit da ka pla to kim la semo bakin tap gitu gitar gitar ka pla
Gila imat kawe mat kedon jajak mar trai. Kan kamsuk iki bagan lam numprah ju num ya tat kan kamsuk ka plastik. Long kata ka jing perhat jangan ngam tip rei kiwe pat perhat no.
hatu kini ka somar hi pada ki wan ra biang ne empat komentar pi ai plastik mo pila da bai henrei ba in hatu kamlong ka babhala da ila wan ra biang itu ijui plastik hi banwan ong song no ai ni ba
Lara kila ban le umta da kamsuk ini ro. Long jawab ngin thiet la kam duna am ka jing thiet.
kalong nem ke ke ba kila ban le kan
Lara ki ra ka song kamon jing pat ba ma. Lara ki le ta kala ba hi. Song kamon jing long mi perkhat lang ni te kala hi. Dekin le umta.
tiang ni ka pon pila ni ina me ka wi ka nuksa ka bang i hang ni lang ba ini ilong kumie haba ki dia ya thiet but ha ka jing thiet jong ki jing bam nak ni ka dukan i kong i penan kam kong longan pet kendiat ya to ka pla jong pi dom sngoi pila ni hang ni ba i kong i thep bet no ya kini ki jur gi jap hang ni ha po pla but i kem shem la shem ya ka plastik nei ni ka dukan jong ini i kong nang ni te kong kai ka pla pelong i pi ba pin nom pan da ka plastik en rei pi shem bet pi thep ya po ka pla
Haka jing sangau jonga te ba nga sangau ba ka plastik te kamlong kan ka penjaing bahaya kamarang. Te kenang pangin yada ya kamarang ka baha bangi pendon kami da kepla.
bat kani ka nuksa ka ba pi lam balai pada ki we ki bru kim penbut ni ka ju ka nuksa namar kuma pila le balai ki we mo kim la ban penbut kum ni
Lada ki terahi ki mon ban pendon kam da kepla kila kan. Namar ngi i bakat no ka jing jaing ka marang. Man kas ngi ki breu ki pendon kam da plastik.
kadai
Long ka pen isi ka pen i jaklia kan ya kamarang. Tangkat taba.
te kalong nuksa ka ba sno tanat bat ngakermen ba kani ngin ya but dien boro ngin ya penbut boro ladang ikwa nomor ra si syayak ta ka jing kala ban pendu pendam ka plastik kong katu kanuksa ka bangi i menta kalong ba pla ba bangi i namar ba anak liang jong piru pikem terwai i ke plastik ma iru ikem shem ke plastik mo i tep ya po ka pla balai pada pisngo ba ki babon palang hi kim penbut ya kan ya kai ka jeng e mau try
Takin fi teng gila era pelangam turu kim tre. Tila ki ong ai ding ong im ai ki onong tu ai. Ti ngim man siaw ai. Lengir ngim kwa hi. Namar ngapet li ayo te mak dagi spa kilo chi sing plastik kalai. Ti ka jing jabok ba no. Pa tamam bun ber kim sing thu. Rang im ai ru nginde kum no. Ti ham ai. Ti ki bampan li kemen. Ngir im kwa ai.
hatu ka jeng persang jong itu i kong kum tu lengbai tu nuksa i baret lada da babun ki baya penbut ya kan ya hatu kala perwan ra kata ka jeng kala ne kum no ne pisngo
Ni kadai sya kan la ka biang kan gum ta la ki wan ra le long ikut ni mo itanat ikop hi kata ka ko monyo ru te bara ka pala tang ba ngan ong no ki babon kem kre ndai ke jingkala te kan wan be la ki tre untuk min suam mo ngim ju penon kam te plastik da ka pala be menta ba man kan jat ke tu ni ha ba be te
One of the most pressing challenges to sustainable living is our constant chase for more. More of food, more of clothes, and more of technologies. The first me approach dominates all aspects of our life, the cost of which is borne by our environment. One such sector of concern is the fashion industry. As per several studies, the dawn of the new millennium has seen a twofold increase in fashion production and it is projected to likely triple by 2050. Have we questioned ourselves, how often do we buy clothes, or how long do your clothes last? What do you do with old discarded clothes that can't be worn anymore? Several studies suggest that the production of synthetic plastic fibers like polyester, nylon, acrylic, spandex, and others, which are made of plastic used for much cheap fast fashion as well as athleisure wear, has increased ninefold in the last 50 years. These plastic fiber-based athleisure wear apparels contribute to the majority of waste on our landfills. Also, because clothing has gotten so cheap, it is easily discarded after being worn only a few times. Along with it, online shopping, available day and night, has made impulse buying and returning items easier. The implications of fast fashion are huge on our environment. Amidst this distressing trend, there is also growing awareness among the Gen Z on sustainable fashion.
We started the fashion house about 12 years ago, and the sole aim was to promote our fabrics, our indigenous fabric, which is known as the Rindia, and also working with the weavers. So we've been doing that for the last 12 to 13 years and taking the story of Rindia to the world. And when we first started, when I got a chance to work with the weavers, it wasn't so much a thought about sustainability or sustainable fashion. It was more about working with this community of women who weave this fabric and helping them find a market for the product. And over the years, we've been doing that, and so it just so happened that Rindia is a fabric which is 100% organic, and we work with colors which are also completely natural, which are all vegetable dyes. And so introducing a fabric which is 100% organic and chemical free, especially in a world full of chemicals, was indeed like a breath of fresh air. So throughout this journey, I've seen how sustainability has become such a huge part of the industry, and a lot of designers are getting into sustainable fashion and talking about sustainable fashion and working with fabrics which are eco-friendly and organic. So for me, sustainability is beyond a trend. I think it's something which is so important in today's world, where everything is about fast fashion and fast consumerism. And the biggest challenge for me was also to, being a designer in such a small place like Shillong, to actually educate people and let people know about the importance of sustainability, and even recycling is quite a challenge. But I see, like I mentioned, this is beyond a trend now. I see a lot of people, at least a small section of the society, which is becoming more conscious about what they're wearing. And so I think that is very important. And as a designer, I feel it's also a responsibility for me to help contribute towards the environment through my work, and that is something which I try to do, even if it's not 100% with my work, but at least a part of my work we do promote sustainability. For example, the jacket which I'm wearing right now is kind of recycled from my my old trousers. So this is something which I try to do with my work, and also encourage people to do the same, with their old clothes. And it's quite challenging, but it's also very interesting and exciting for me to do. And so this is something which I would like people to be more aware in today's world, and if not just about sustainable fashion, but also in like different aspects in their lifestyles.
Fast food packaging is a global concern. It accounts for 88% of coastline litter, consisting of bags, wrappers, cutlery, and more. Notable contributors include Starbucks, McDonald's, Burger King, and more. In several countries of the world, the slow food movement is emerging as a response to the negative impacts of the fast food industry, promoting sustainable and healthy eating practices. Started in Italy in 1989 as a not-for-profit, slow food movement began as a response to the rise of fast food and a world where we can eat quickly and cheaply without ever leaving our cars. It advocates for locally sourced organic and seasonal foods, emphasizing quality over convenience. By supporting traditional cooking methods and local farmers, the movement aims to reduce the environmental footprint associated with industrial food production. Slow food encourages mindful eating, which fosters a deeper appreciation for food and its origins, counteracting the unhealthy, wasteful, and environmentally damaging practices prevalent in the fast food industry.
When you talk about sustainability in food, it is very, very important because if you talk about the environmental movement that happened in the world, it started from USA with this book called The Silent Spring. The book basically was written by Rachel Carson. She was an environmentalist, a scientist, a very good writer. And in that book, she documented how the use of pesticides have actually killed most of the fishes in the rivers, how actually has led to a lot of these hormonal problems in animals. And she also was saying if that can happen to animals, it can also happen to human beings. And of course, now we can see that how conventional agriculture, the industrial farming that we talk about now, has really devastated the environment in many ways. First of all, you talk about, let's say, your greenhouse gas emission. 30% of greenhouse gas emissions comes from agriculture. Whether it talks about how you produce food, for example, what goes into it, the inputs, the land conversion from let's say land which is forested to agriculture, all of that combined together generates greenhouse gas, and 30% comes from the way how we do agriculture. Also, the pollution you're talking about, in terms of when, let's say, you have a lot of urea, you put a lot of urea in soil, and a lot of it is leached into the water, and that contaminates the water sources and also leads to eutrophication, which leads to reduced oxygen for the fish and other aquatic creatures, and kills them also. And so you have sulfur dioxide, so like you have so many of these problems coming from agriculture. And also in terms of, let's say, our lifestyle. Nowadays people have a lot of diabetes, hypertension. A lot of it is because of the food we eat, because you have a lot of sugar, a lot of salt in the food. You look at all the chips, all the fast food. So first of all, it's destroying the environment, then also it's destroying your health. See, if you look at the diet right now, okay, it's very homogenized. All of us at home, we eat rice and dal. Anywhere you go, all over the country, rice, dal, maybe some meat, little bit, but you'll find that there's no diversity in food right now. Look at Meghalaya, for example. We are rice eaters, but in the past it wasn't so simple, because see, people had a lot of other staples as well. They had millet, they had sweet potato, they had taro, they had that panding. They had all these different starchy staples which could be used as a carbohydrate-rich food source. But now everyone eats rice. In fact, people, and most of the rice is coming from outside. So we are becoming dependent also on outside. So when you look at our food habit now, it has changed completely. No green leafy vegetables, no local vegetables. But when you go to the community, when you ask them, let's say, just last week I was in Umroy, we did a small workshop with a group of people, young girls, who we were trying to train them for a certain questionnaire project we are doing, and we asked them to list all the food plants they find in their village. They grow, not they collect from the forest. Almost 200 food plants. But are we eating all those food plants? We are not eating those food plants. But many of those food plants actually are very, very rich in micronutrient. Your iron, vitamin A. But we are not eating any of that. We are eating rice, dal, and potato. But potato is carbohydrate rich, rice is carbohydrate rich. You don't need to eat rice and potato. You can have one or the other. But what has happened is the diet has become homogenized, and because of that, a lot of this diversity we have in food, it's also going away, because if people don't eat, why should they grow? Because there is no market for that. And now we have, I would say, our work showed that in Asfas, in one village there might be 5 to 10 varieties of potatoes. But how many varieties we eat? If you go 20 to 40 varieties of rice in one village, how many we eat? Shrew, 15 to 20 varieties of shrew in any village. Do we eat that? They have so many fruits, so many wild vegetables, no? Like jali, jatira, jamardo, jamahek, janem, all this ja. What does ja mean? Ja mean food and its leaf. And all those are very rich in iron because they're green leaf vegetables, no? Are we eating that? So we look in terms of how food has changed. It instead of becoming this diverse food we have, no? We're eating only few things. And those are not good for our health. We have something called a 10 food group. You know, you have all the food items that you eat, you can divide them into 10 groups. You have the starchy staples, you have the green leafy vegetables, you have the other vegetables, the other fruits, the pulses, you know, then you have the nuts and seeds, you have the meat, you have the milk, you know. You combine all of that, vitamin A rich food, plant like food. So if you combine all the food that we have around us, you can divide into 10 groups. And we need to at least consume in a day 5 minimum. If we consume 5, there's a high possibility that our body will get all the nutrients it requires. But just imagine, how would we eat in home? Rice, surwa, maybe some turso, that's it. Maybe potato, that's it, or dal. But how many food groups are there? There are not many. People don't eat fruits. Like for example, so like we need to bring that change from the home itself. You know, for example, to make sure that you eat multiple diversity of food. No? That knowledge is very important. You have to, and also to make it simple, for me, like we say, 10 out of 10 food, 5 food you have to eat in a day. You know, so if that behavioral change can come, but you know, behavioral change also. Look at the advertisement. I mean, like you're spending so much money on advert, no, like, and you bring this so you bring this stars, no, like celebrities to market your chips, to market all this fast food. So if you want to change, they are doing behavioral change. They are actually doing behavioral change by using that propaganda, no, for them. We have to do the same thing. And can you compete with the money they have? It's a big challenge, and so therefore therefore it's difficult. Why? Because you're being bombarded. This is good. This is good. Pepsi is good. For example, no, but Pepsi is again empty calorie. There's nothing there. There's nothing. There's sugar. It's just sugar water. So if all the sports stars, all the celebrities are coming and telling you, you know, eat this, this is this and that. I mean, like, how can you challenge that unless you have your own, you know, propaganda, and propaganda by not bad propaganda, good propaganda. It's an advertisement, you know, that has to happen. But unless that happens, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge to do behavioral change.
One of the most integral aspects of our tribal society has been our deep connection with nature, and therefore the aspects of caring for all, not just for human forms, but also species and all sorts of life forms. This thought is deeply rooted in our belief system. Probably, it is time that we invoke the spirit of our ancestors and not just take pride in our legacy, but also imbibe their way of life, which was deeply rooted in sustainable living and conservation.
So now let us see, I won't say the solution, but the probable solutions. We always say that everything starts from home. You know, whether it is our manners, our upbringing, the way we think, everything starts from home. I think sustainable lifestyle idea now should be imbibed to our younger generation, and as well as us as adults, we need to start adopting them from home itself. So from home itself, in my opinion, what we practice at home currently, of course, we practice that policy of the blue bucket and the green bucket, right? The organic waste is put in the green bucket, which is, we also try to utilize it to make home manure, etc. And the blue bucket is where we keep all the, you know, inorganic elements, including the plastic and everything. And then we try and give it to the municipal people who we expect would, you know, keep it in a proper way or degrade it in a proper way, right? Other than that, what we can do at the moment at home is, like I said, reduce the energy resources by not, you know, exploiting them. Like I said, 2 meals in a day, okay? So you don't have to excessively use your LPG, all right? Then we also have utilizing water in the right way. Like sometimes what we do is, you know, our taps are opened, and even when it is not used, these are small things. We used to do it, but I think we need to restart thinking about what we are doing with it. Like we do at home, when we wash our rice, we put that rice water in another container, and then that one we go and pour it in our kitchen garden for our plants. So that is another way that we utilize sustainability. Like I said, water resources, we are really going to have depreciation of these things. Other than light, utilization of lights. For example, now in my compound, we've just introduced solar lights. So at night or in the evenings when the sun goes down and we want to switch on our, our gate lights and all, we try to use the solar lights. Okay, if we can afford them, why not use them? They are sustainable. All right. Other than that, even like at homes, like the pass on, there is something that is known as sustainable fashion, if you all know. Sustainable fashion allows us to give away clothes or any material of cloth that we do not wish to use anymore, to pass it on clean to someone else. So we can give it even to our, people who want it. The sweaters, the bed sheets, the blankets, which are clean. Others can utilize it rather than just dumping it and throwing it. And there are many other ways to do sustainable lifestyle practices starting from home. And I think we should start thinking about it, we should start reading about it, and we should start speaking about it, so that the future generation is aware and they also start, making efforts for sustainable lifestyle from now.
And with that, we have come to the end of this episode of Green Echoes. I hope it has been a very insightful and thought-provoking one when we talk about sustainable living. But the big question for each and every one of us to ponder upon is, are we ready to be the change? Well, to change our lifestyle, to change the way we eat, the way we wear, the way we do our day-to-day affairs, and whether this change is something that we are ready to accept. Sustainable living or sustainable lifestyle entirely depends on our behavioral change that we need to bring in our day-to-day affairs. Well, that is something that is going to be a major challenge for each and every one of us. So I leave that thought for each and every one of us to ponder upon. And as the great father of the nation has said, that we need to be the change in order to bring the change that we want to see all around the world. Let the change begin with me and you. On that note, this is Nicholas J. Karnami and the team of DD Meghalaya signing out from this episode. And I hope that each and every one of you did enjoy watching this. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, DD Meghalaya, and do share your thoughts about this program. On that note, once again, leaving each and every one of you to ponder upon this very question. Is sustainable lifestyle a myth or a reality? And for us to bring that very change in order to protect our environment, well, it has to begin with me and with you. On that note, let's just not think green, but let's act now.